All right, back at it again, man. Another man in the kitchen doing what he do. First off, don't bother me, I'm cooking. But this is a very simple recipe. Instead of making fried cabbage, I'll go ahead and get my green vegetables together. As you can see in this video, I'll start off by chopping up my kale. This mixture right here is something that I like to do. I've actually fell in love with it. What you're gonna see here, I'm gonna add a couple of more green vegetables, and it actually came out a real bomb. I normally use kale, Swiss chard, and greens, but it's been a long day, so I had a quick brain fart. But in the video, as you can see, getting off the big stems of my kale, something that I don't want to be all super hard and crunchy when I make this. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this kale chopped up in my bowl right there, threw it in the sink to run some water in it. Go ahead and excuse the shot, man. This is for the holidays. I was enjoying myself and having a good time, as you can see with the music playing in the background. But yeah, that's just one of the things I do. I like to cook to my music and vibe out. I had to fast forward a little bit just so I don't make this video too long for the viewers. Like I said, it's a very simple recipe. So you're gonna get your kale, you're gonna chop up your kale and break it all down, get it to nice bite sizes. You don't want the big leaves, so when you grab it with your fork, you're wrapping your fork around it and doing all that extra stuff. So now that my kale is chopped up, I go ahead and I grab my red chard. I like the color variation. This was the first time I've added that to this mixture. I normally just use green chard by itself, but the red chard looks good. When I spin around to the pot like this, that's because I got some black pepper bacon in the pot. Once again, this video was made on Thanksgiving, so I'm using my gumbo pot. It's a big pot because I was making a lot of meals and, you know, doing what I do best. Getting in the kitchen, vibing out to my music, making it happen. But I get my red chard chopped up. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my bowl with that water and that kale, and I'm gonna go ahead and get that mixture going. Making sure that I wash all of my vegetables. So now at this point, you should see me grabbing my green chard. We're gonna go ahead and get the leaves off of that. Everything, all the vegetables that I would use, I like to use more so the leaves. I chop a lot of that stemmy part off. I do use some of it, but the thick stemmy part, I'm not trying to have to boil down and fight with it and chew on it and have it extra tough and, you know, unpleasant while I'm trying to enjoy my meal. So now that my kale's chopped up and my chard is chopped up, I'll go ahead and this is where I grab my collard greens. Normally, this recipe, I just use kale, collard greens, and green chard, but for the time being, holidays, let's go ahead and try something new. So I'm gonna add, like I said, I added the red chard. Later on, you'll see I add the mustard greens as well. So when it came to the greens, I had already pre-washed them prior to even taking it to this step. Everybody knows you need to wash your greens before you throw them in the pot. Nobody wants to eat no dirty greens, chewing on dirt and things of that nature. So I'll go ahead, I already had those washed off, let them sit for a minute. And after I get to chopping on these, I'm gonna throw these in the bowl as well with the rest of the mixture. So the collard greens is chopped up, and now it's time to get to the mustard greens. I'm gonna go ahead and get to chopping these up. And like I said, all of my green vegetables, I'm trying to take into consideration the way I want to eat it. You guys can use whatever part of the greens, whatever part of the chard that you feel is gonna make it work. But like I said, the thick stemmy part, go ahead and I discard that. After everything's cut up, as you see, I put it in the sink. This gives me an opportunity to mix it as well as make sure everything's washed off. It's not in the video, but I do drain that and rinse it once again to make sure everything is
So once again, it's proof that Jared Goff is trash. Because he left the Rams and he was trash. He went to Detroit.
So this chicken broth that you see, I'm gonna take 2 cups of the chicken broth, and with my bacon grease that's in that pan, I'm gonna go ahead and pour 2 cups of the chicken broth in this. So I have 2 cups of chicken broth. I have my bacon grease that I already rendered, my bacon that I rendered the fat off of, so it's just grease at this point. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the camera angle so you'll be able to see from the top. And as that's slowly starting to simmer, I'm gonna go ahead and take my green vegetables. Once again, I try not to add too much water because we all know grease and water doesn't mix together. Well, hopefully we know that. That's a quick way to start a fire. So I'm gonna start dropping in my green vegetables. And once I get about half the bowl in there, as you'll see, I'll start grabbing my seasoning my vegetables. Now, when it comes to the vegetables, you don't need heavy seasoning. Mind you, you do have the flavor that's going to come from the black pepper bacon if that's the bacon you choose to use. Go ahead and hit it with a little black pepper. After the black pepper, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna hit it with, as you'll see on the camera,